Tim Cook lunches, AT&T's Edge network leaving New York City, Editor's Choice apps, and jailbreaking is still a thing. It's Wednesday, May 30th, 2012, and this is iWake. I'm Tim Chaten, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Good morning, welcome to another edition of iWake. Kicking off the show today is some general Apple news. First up, a brief mention that Tim Cook is a fairly approachable CEO. He, according to many reports, just sits down and has lunch with random employees at Apple. This is a bit different from Steve, who liked to have lunch with Johnny Ives every day. Another general Apple news is an early pay raise for Apple Store employees. According to 95Mac, in a video sent directly to Apple Store employees, newly appointed Senior Vice President of Apple Retail, John Browett, has promised a 3-month advance on employee salary raises. Apple Store employees were previously scheduled to see their raises on September 30th of this year, but now these raises will come on June 30th. These employee raises are said to work on a 1 to 5 scale, depending on individual store sales performance during a designated time period. Employees will be given raises between 1 and 5% of their current salary. This 3-month advance is apparently a one-time internal promotion, so the raises for 2013 will likely come at the regular time frame, not June. And this is certainly a great way for John to get on the side of the employees earning their trust, things like that, by doing this earlier and earlier. Or at least doing it this one time early. Employees lucky enough to work for Apple Corporate get a different bit of good news. According to Mac Rumors, Apple's board of directors has decided to award dividend equivalent payments to employees holding restricted stock units, or commonly known as RSUs. Tim Cook, of note, decided to turn down what amounted to around $75 million. These payments are sure to make a ton of Apple employees quite happy, as tons of Apple employees, I'm sure, have RSU units, as it's a pretty common thing to have when you become an employee at a big company like Apple. And other news is the TSA trying out Apple products and actually buying Apple products. According to Apple Insider, the U.S. Transportation Security Administration is set to initiate a pilot program to purchase up to $3 million worth of Apple hardware over the next 3 years, including 1,000 Macs and 1,000 mobile devices. Here's to hoping Macs, iPhones, and iPads make the TSA happier and more pleasant to deal with. Now, on to some phone news. First up, AT&T shutting down their 2G bands in New York City. According to the Cult of Mac, AT&T has begun shutting down its 2G service in New York to free up spectrum for 3G and 4G customers. The shutdown will affect a number of mobile phones that rely on 2G service for voice and data. But if you're still using an original iPhone, this won't affect you too much. It isn't time to worry just yet. AT&T will only be shutting down one of the frequency bands that is used to provide 2G service. Frequency that is supported by the original iPhone will be maintained for the foreseeable future. AT&T has been proactively reaching out to customers with 2G-only phones in the New York market and providing free upgrades to 3G-capable devices. And Android phone news is Sprint killing off the Nexus S 4G. The once premium phone is no more. This would be like Apple killing off last year's iPhone 4. It is a bit different from that in the Android space, but if you're wanting a Nexus device, the message is pretty clear. Get a Galaxy Nexus because the old one, it's no good no more. In other phone news, I just wanted to mention that Apple has revised their iOS 5.1.1 release. For the GSM iPhone 4, no one really knows what is in this new release, but it is just for the GSM iPhone 4 and not for the Verizon one and not for other ones. If you're still running iOS 5.1.1 on your iPhone 4 GSM, you should see the update. Current users do not need to worry about getting the latest version, as the changes are expected to be minor. Now, let's move on to some app news. First up is an update to Aperture 3. Apple's patch notes state that it improves stability on OS X Snow Leopard and addresses an issue that could prevent the viewer from updating correctly after editing a photo in an external editor. The update is a fairly big one at 500.8 megabytes downloaded inline through Software Update, or you can do a standalone download of 635.54 megabytes from Apple's support site. Another app news is a fairly big feature update to Bump. It allows you to bump to your laptop or desktop computer. The feature lets you bump photos and only photos to your computer. You'll need to have Bump installed on your iPhone and computer for this to work. In other app news is an update to Infinity Blade 2. The latest version, 1.2, is named Vault of Fears, and it delivers new areas with new secrets, new enemies, and new items. The complete list of new additions includes delve further into the mysterious path of Cyrus as new areas are unlocked and major secrets are revealed. You're able to jump into battle and defeat new enemies, including Moss Golem, Lupin, Dark Fiend, Bog Giant, Akoliti, and many more. Another thing in this update is X marks the spot. You're able to find your hidden ally, discover secret items and rewards with the all-new treasure map feature. There's also more than 50 new items, including magic rings, weapons, shields, helmets, armor to collect, master and sell, and so forth and so forth. Tons of stuff. The update is out now and ready for you to download. Next up in app news is a new app dubbed Sketchbook Inc. According to Mac Rumors, at the introduction of the iPad 3 this past March, Apple invited a number of developers to showcase their apps. And one of those apps was Autodesk's new app, Sketchbook Inc. It's finally arrived in the App Store. The app offers seven different strokes to users with virtual ink that doesn't simply appear to be on the page. Instead, it leaves interesting little imperfections as if it were seeping into the paper, kind of like the paper app we saw highlighted a few weeks ago that was pretty popular amongst us geeks. Ink has one noteworthy feature as well. Your drawings aren't created in bitmap form. Instead, they're resolution independent. So you can zoom in as much as you'd like and save them into the iPad's photo library, Dropbox, iTunes, or other things like that. You're also able to opt into an incredible resolution of 11,336 by 8,727 for ultimate printability. So you're able to print huge banners from artwork created on your iPad 3. Sketchbook Inc. is available for iPad at the intro price of $2, going up to $5 in the coming weeks or months. And other app news is not a specific app, but a new thing Apple's doing. It's called Editor Choice Apps. They're in the App Store, and they're for both Mac OS apps as well as iOS apps. The Editor's Choice branding is new for Apple and extends to all of their app stores, as I just said. Apps to get the honor so far include CoBook, Facebook Camera, Extreme Skater, Airmail, and Sketchbook Inc. This is a nice addition to the App Store, and I hope to see it continues over the next few months to see what other notable apps Apple deems worthy to highlight. In Windows app news is Microsoft doing a rather bold thing, if you ask me. You know how Apple supplies everyone with Xcode for free to make it easy to develop iOS and Mac apps? Well, Microsoft has been doing a similar thing. It's called Visual Studio. Well, their next version for Windows 8 will be free, but only if you want to make Metro apps. If you want to create desktop applications, you'll need to shell out around $500 to do so. This is a major change. It would be like Apple, making Xcode free only if you developed for their app stores, and you'd have to pay Apple, say, $500 if you want to make a non-app store app for the Mac. Kind of out there for Microsoft. Microsoft seems to be really pushing Metro, and this is just another way they are doing that. Last up today, I just want to remind everyone that a jailbreak is now out for the new iPad and pretty much every other iOS device running iOS 5.1.1. Green Poison Absinthe 2.0 is out and allows this jailbreak to happen. Since its release last week, it's been downloaded over 1.1 million times. An impressive number that shows just how big jailbreaking still is. I've decided to go clean from now on with my iPad and not jailbreak. So I am not one of those 1.1 million people. Well, that's what's going on in the Apple world today. If you'd like to help out the show, there's a couple ways you can do that. First off, iTunes. If you leave a review on iTunes, that's a big help. Secondly, going on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/TCHATEN. You watch the videos on there, click the ads. That helps me get paid, things like that. So if you're not in the paying me actual money, clicking my ads is a way you can do that. Also, if you do want to pay me money, I fully support that. You can go to iWakePodcast.com/again. That's where you can donate $10 a month to this podcast, as well as get extra content. Every Saturday, I do a show called iWake Again. You get that. It's about 30 minutes every Saturday, and it also provides you a way to get provide you a way for you to pay for the show. So that's a cool thing as well. And I guess that's it for today. Join me tomorrow for another edition of iWake. Aloha.